Hey survivors, welcome back to part 2 of The Breach at Ark. If you're new, smash subscribe and catch part 1, because Atlanta is about to burn. Steel, Blaze, and Forge escaped the Atlanta research complex with files that could stop a viral apocalypse, but Ruin, Anchor, and Shade didn't make it out. Now, the city's crumbling, infected are everywhere, and time's running dry. Drop your city in the comments. Could you survive this chaos? Dusk is falling. The fight's just beginning. Grab your gear and let's dive in. This is for the fallen. Here we go. The Atlanta research complex loomed behind us, a smoldering ruin spitting sparks into the dusk. I'm Steel, one of the last standing from our SWAT elite, flanked by Blaze and Forge, brothers forged in 8 years of hell. We'd escaped with a hard drive cradling Project Delta's dark truths, a prize stained with the blood of Ruin, Anchor, and Shade. The sky glowed a sickly red, smoke weaving a shroud over Atlanta's skyline, plumes rising from Midtown's towers, downtown streets, even the quiet suburbs beyond. The city was dying, and we were its last heartbeat. Blaze clutched the drive, his gloves streaked with soot. Everything's here: trial logs, mutation vectors, the works. They gave their lives for this. His voice cracked, eyes hollow with the weight of it. Ford shifted his pack, the faint clink of inhibitor vials cutting the silence. He scanned the horizon, his broad frame tense under the tactical gear. This isn't just Ark. Look at those fires. It spread too far, too fast. His words hung heavy, a truth we couldn't dodge. Through my scope, I caught them, shapes staggering in the distance, their movements jagged, predatory. Infected. Once neighbors, now monsters driven by Delta's curse. Screams pierced the air, sharp against the fading hum of a city in collapse. We're sitting ducks, I said, forcing calm into my tone. We need wheels. Those files are useless if we don't reach someone. Near Ark's shattered gate, a SWAT van slumped, battered, its side dented, blood smeared across the windshield like a grim signature. Keys dangled in the ignition, a stroke of luck in this nightmare. It'll hold, Forge grunted, climbing in. Blaze slid into shotgun, cradling the drive like a lifeline, while I took the rear, rifle ready. The engine coughed, then roared, a lifeline of our own. Precinct, I said, locking my gaze forward. Captain Torres might still be alive. Someone's got to hear this. Forge gripped the wheel, nodding. For Ruin, for all of them. We move now. The van growled to life, tires crunching over Ark's debris as dusk swallowed Atlanta whole. I'm Steel, riding rear guard, my rifle's muzzle trained on the fading light. Forge drove hard, weaving past wrecked cars and shattered glass, while Blaze hunched over the hard drive, its data our only hope. The air reeked, smoke, and that chemical bite from Ark, clawing through my mask. Then they came, 3 infected bursting from the shadows, gray skin gleaming, eyes dead. Once a woman in a sundress, a teen with earbuds dangling, a cop with a shredded vest, now feral husks charging us. Contact, I barked, sighting the cop first. My shot cracked, brainstem hit, dropping him mid-stride. The woman lunged, slamming the van's side. Forge swerved, but she clung, clawing metal. Blaze cracked his window, fired, a clean headshot sent her tumbling. The teen leapt, landing on the hood with a snarl, fist pounding the windshield. Floor it, I yelled. Forge punched the gas, the van lurching, the kid slid, and I fired through the rear, ending him with a wet thud. Too damn close, Forge growled, steadying the wheel. Blood streaked the hood, a dark smear against the dying light. They're fast, Blaze said, voice tight, clutching the drive. Delta's work rewired them for this. The radio crackled, static and panic. Containment breached, all units, retreat. I leaned forward. Precincts are shot. Torres might have a line out. Forge nodded, eyes on the road. If he's gone, we're screwed. Riley's next. Ahead, Peachtree Street loomed, a graveyard of stalled cars and flickering streetlights. More shapes moved, 10, 15 infected spilling from an alley, drawn by the engine's roar. Brace. Forge snapped, plowing through, bodies thudded off the bumper, some clawing as we passed. I fired twice, 2 down, ammo dwindling fast. They're everywhere, Blaze muttered, glancing back. We're a damn beacon. Keep moving, I said, reloading. For shade for all of them. We don't stop. The van tore down Peachtree Street, a battered beast growling through Atlanta's dusklit ruin. I'm Steele, posted in the rear, rifle steady as Forge carved a path past flipped cars and sparking wires. Blaze hunched over a tactical tablet, the hard drive jacked in, its screen casting a pale glow on his blood-streaked face. "This isn't just Ark," he said, voice low and urgent, fingers scrolling fast. "Project Delta's been running for years, 3 other sites. Houston, Seattle, DC, same virus, same playbook." Ford shot him a glance, hands tied on the wheel. "Military gig?" "Started noble," Blaze said, eyes narrowing at the data. "Compound X, 17, rabies hybrid fused with neural Regan tech. Goal was reviving brain-dead, trauma victims, soldiers, anyone flatlined. Early trials worked, basic functions rebooted, hearts pumping again. Then it went wrong." He paused, swallowing hard. "Virus mutated, hijacked the brainstem, stripped everything else. No memory, no soul, just instinct to feed and spread." My gut twisted, the weight of ruin's sacrifice sinking deeper. "What's Ark got to do with it?" "Proving ground," Blaze said, tapping a memo. "Subject 0, trauma patient, brain dead, dosed with X-17. Woke up feral, attacked the lab. But this," he froze, voice dropping to a whisper. "Containment didn't fail. Someone spiked it. Codenames Overlord and Spectre Black Book Brass wanted a live test, see how it spreads in a real-world scenario." Forge cursed, swerving around a wrecked bus. "They unleashed this on purpose?" "Looks that way," Blaze said, scrolling faster. "Military saw potential, reanimated infantry, cheap, endless cannon fodder. Ark was the trigger, Subject 0 just the match." A thud rocked the van, an infected slammed the side, gray claws scraping metal. I fired through the rear, brainstem shot, clean drop. "Keep rolling," I said, reloading my last clip. "What else?" Blaze's fingers trembled. "Countermeasure, neural inhibitor. Early tests showed it slows the virus, jams the brainstem takeover. Ark had prototypes Forge those vials." Forge patted his pack, jaw tight. 3 tubes, sealed. "If they're legit, we've got a weapon." The street ahead thickened, 20 infected spilling from a shattered storefront, drawn by our noise. Forge gunned it, plowing through, bodies thudded off the bumper, some clawing as we passed. I fired twice, 2 down, ammo near gone. "They're endless," Blaze muttered, eyes back on the tablet. "Files say the inhibitors untested on live turns could be a dud." "Then we test it," I said, voice hard. "For anchor for all of them. Precinct still to play, Torres might have answers." Forge nodded, tires screeching. "If he's alive, we've got a shot. If not, Riley's next." Smoke choked the air, fires flickering in the distance. "This was planned," Blaze said, almost to himself. "Overlord, Spectre, whoever they are, they're watching this burn." Atlanta unraveled around us, a city bleeding out under a crimson dusk. The van roared down Peachtree. I'm Steele, rifle low, watching shadows twist into threats. Forge drove like a man possessed, weaving through wrecks, cars abandoned mid-flight, their doors gaping, glass crunching under our tires. Blaze gripped the tablet, its glow cutting through the gloom, Project Delta's secrets spilling out with every swipe. The precinct was our lifeline. Captain Torres might still hold a thread of command. But the horizon told a different story. "Flames ahead," Forge said, voice grim, nodding at the skyline. Where the precinct should have stood, fire raged, a skeleton of steel and ash, swallowing the block. "Torres is gone, whole damn places." The radio crackled, a dying gasp. "Downtown lost, retreat to quarantine." Static swallowed the rest. Blaze cursed, slamming the tablet down. "That was our shot," command shredded. "Then Camp Riley," I said, forcing focus. "Northside guard post, comms tower, maybe a chopper. We get these files out." Forge swerved, clipping a stalled truck. Metal groaned, the van shuddering. Infected poured from side streets, 30, 40 now, gray husks and torn clothes. One shopkeepers, kids, cops, now a tide of hunger. "They're tracking us," he growled, accelerating. Bodies thudded off the grill. Some clung, clawing until Forge shook them loose, blood streaking the hood. I fired from the rear, 3 shots, 3 kills, ammo down to a prayer. Too many, I said. We're a damn flare in the dark. Blaze glanced back, eyes wild. Files say Delta's other sites might be active. Houston's next if this spreads. Then Riley's our stand, I said, voice like iron. For shade, for the team. We don't stop. A barricade loomed, military, makeshift, sandbags and razor wire blocking the road. Humvees sat silent, doors ajar, blood pooling beneath. Infected roamed among them. Guardsmen turned, their fatigue shredded, rifles useless in dead hands. Riley's close, Forge said, slowing. We punch through or we're done. I leaned out, sighting a cluster. 5 infected, once soldiers, now staggering toward us. 2 shots, 2 down, my last rounds. Forge, ram it. I barked, slinging my rifle. He nodded, flooring it. The van smashed the barricade arm, with splintering, infected scattering. One lunged, grabbing the side. I swung my rifle butt, cracking its skull. It fell, gray face splitting on asphalt. Clear, Forge said, pushing north. Atlanta's fires glowed behind us, a city lost, a warning blazing. Riley's our shot now, I said. For ruin, we make it count. The van roared north, Atlanta's fires a fading smear in the rear view. I'm steel, rifle empty, gripping the stock like a lifeline as Forge pushed us toward Camp Riley. The precinct was ash, Captain Torres buried in it, so Riley was our last shot. A National Guard outpost with a comms tower that might get Project Delta's files out. Dusk deepened, shadows stretching long and hungry across the road. The air stank of smoke and decay, the city's pulse fading under the infected's howl. Barricade ahead, Forge called, slowing the van. Military grade, sandbags stacked high, razor wire glinting, Humvees parked in a silent row. But no soldiers manned it, just blood pooling dark, streaking the asphalt like spilled ink. Infected roamed the wreckage, 10, 15, once guardsmen, their fatigues torn, eyes clouded with Delta's curse. They've turned, Blaze said, voice low, clutching the hard drive. Riley's close, half a mile past this. We punched through, I said, slinging my rifle, useless now, and pulling a combat knife from my vest. No ammo, no stopping. Forge nodded, revving the engine. Hold tight. He floored it. The van slammed the barricade arm, with splintering metal groaning. 2 infected lunged, ex-soldiers, one missing an arm, the other dragging a shredded leg. They hit the hood, clawing glass. I kicked the rear door open, slashing the one-armed bastard's throat. It gurgled, gray blood spraying, tumbling off. The other smashed the windshield. Blaze fired his sidearm, a single shot through its skull. It slid, smearing the glass red. Keep going, he yelled, reloading with shaking hands. More closed in. 20 now, spilling from behind the Humvees, a wall of gray death. Forge swerved, clipping a sandbag pile. The van rocked, tires screeching. One leapt, clinging to the side. I stabbed through the window, blades sinking into its temple. It dropped, but another took its place, clawing my arm. I yanked back, slashing its neck. Too many, Forge barked, wrestling the wheel. The van shuddered, engine straining as he plowed through. Bodies thudded off the grill, some crushed under tires, others clinging. I swung again, knife catching a jaw, twisting, until it fell, skull cracking on pavement. Left flank, Blaze shouted, 5 more charged, cutting us off. Forge jerked right, smashing a Humvee's side. Metal screamed, the van tilting. I braced, slashing another off the roof. Its nails raked my vest, tearing fabric. There! Forge yelled, beyond the barricade. Riley's outline rose, a faint beacon. He gunned it, breaking through, 3 infected stuck, dragging, until he shook them loose, blood and flesh painting the road. Clear, I panted, knife dripping. For anchor, We don't quit. Blaze checked the drive, nodding. Riley's next. Our stand. Camp Riley loomed ahead, a fortress swallowed by dusk's gloom. I'm steel, knife in hand, as Forge eased the van to a stop behind a wrecked Humvee. Its turret silent, barrel bent. Sandbags ringed the outpost, razor wire glinting like teeth, but the gates gaped wide, bodies strewn across the yard, some twitching mid-turn. Infected shambled among them. Guardsmen, civilians, gray husks in shredded uniforms, Delta's handiwork. Atlanta's screams faded behind us, fires a distant glow, but here was no sanctuary, just another battlefield. Comms towers up, Blaze said, pointing to a steel spire piercing the haze. Broadcast these files, someone's got to hear. Forge killed the engine, grabbing his rifle, low on rounds. Looks like a slaughter. Guard turned on itself. No choice, I said, wiping my blade. We move fast. For shade, we get this out. We slipped out, weapons up, boots crunching gravel. An infected lurched. Ex-soldier, helmet cracked. Forge fired, a clean brainstem shot dropping it. Another came. Civilian, torn dress. I slashed its throat, gray blood splattering my vest. Tense there, Forge said, nodding at the command post. Canvas flapping, lights flickering inside. We sprinted. 10 infected turned, moaning, shambling fast. Blaze fired twice. 2 down, his pistol clicking empty. Cover me, he yelled, bolting for the tent. I swung, knife carving a path. 3 fell, skulls split. Forge clubbing another with his stock. Inside, the air reeked. Blood, sweat, death. Bodies slumped over consoles. Guardsmen, throats torn. A radio buzzed. Atlanta lost, retreat. Forge hit the power, boosting signal. Weak, might reach DC. Blaze plugged the drive into a terminal. Upload sparked, slow. 6 minutes. All of Delta's sins. Moans swelled. Outside, 20 infected closed in, drawn by our noise. I braced the flap, slashing one as it lunged. Gray claws raked my arm, pain flaring. Forge fired his last rounds. 3 down, then swung his rifle, cracking jaws. They're piling, he growled. Blaze glanced up, 40% uploaded. Keep them off. World needs this. A crash, sidewall tore, 2 infected bursting through. I tackled one, knife sinking into its brainstem. It twitched still. Forge smashed the other's skull, panting. Too damn many. For ruin, I said, standing. We hold. Equals 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 equals. Camp Riley stood dark, a broken fortress under dusk's shroud. I'm steel, knife slick with gray blood, as Forge parked the van behind a wrecked Humvee. Its turret twisted, silent. Sandbags and razor wire ringed the outpost. Gates ajar, bodies littering the yard, some twitching mid-turn. Infected roamed. Guardsmen, civilians, gray husks in tattered gear, Delta's mark. Atlanta's screams faded. Fires a distant glow. But this was no refuge, just war's next stage. Comms towers up, Blaze said, pointing to a spire cutting the haze. Broadcast these files, someone's got to hear. Forge killed the engine, rifle low. Guard turned on itself, slaughterhouse. No choice, I said, wiping my blade. For shade, we push. We moved, boots crunching gravel. An infected lurched, soldier, helmet split. Forge fired, brainstem hit. Another, woman, torn dress. I slashed its throat, blood spraying. Tense there, Forge said. Command post, lights flickering. We ran. 10 infected turned, shambling fast. Blaze fired. 2 down, pistol clicking empty. Cover, he yelled, sprinting inside. I swung, knife felling 3, Forge clubbing another. Inside stank, blood, death. Guardsmen slumped, throats ripped. Radio buzzed. Atlanta lost. Forge boosted signal. Might reach DC. Blaze plugged the drive, upload crawled. 5 minutes. Delta's secrets. Moans grew. 20 infected closed in. I braced the flap, slashing one. Claws raked my arm. Forge fired his last shots. 3 down, then swung his rifle. Piling up, he growled. Blaze glanced. 40% uploaded. Hold them. World needs this. Wall tore. 2 infected burst through. I tackled one, knife in its brainstem. Forge smashed the other's skull. Too many. For ruin, I said. We hold. The command tent shook, infected hammering the walls like a storm. I'm steel, knife dripping, guarding Blaze as he hunched over the terminal. Upload ticking slow, 50%. Forge braced the flap beside me. Rifle a club now, ammo spent. Camp Riley's yard was a gray tide. 30 infected, clawing closer, drawn by our noise. Atlanta's fires glowed faint beyond, a city lost, but these files, Delta's truth, were our fight. Faster. Forge barked, smashing an infected's jaw as it lunged. Teeth snapped inches from his arm. I slashed another, blade sinking into its skull. Gray blood splattered my boots, warm and thick. 70%, Blaze said, voice tight. Hold the line. A roar split the air, a Black Hawk chopper, blade slicing dusk, circling low. Survivors, a voice crackled over the tent speaker. ID yourselves. SWAT, Atlanta Elite. I yelled, slashing another. Its claws tore my sleeve. Project Delta Intel, virus source, countermeasure, broadcasting now. Extract in 2. LZ's hot, the pilot snapped. Glass shattered, side window caved. 3 infected pouring in. I tackled one, knife through its brainstem. Forge swung, cracking skulls. 90%. Blaze shouted, ducking claws. The tent buckled, main flap tore, 10 surging through. Frag. Forge yelled. I pulled our last grenade, pin out, tossing it into the horde. Go. We bolted, 5 seconds, boom. The tent erupted, fire and flesh scattering, buying us seconds. The chopper dropped, rotor wash blasting dirt. Infected swarmed, 50 now. Forge fired his pistol's last rounds, dropping 3. I slashed a path, knife carving, Blaze sprinting, tablet clutched. 100%, he yelled, diving aboard. I shoved Forge in, leaping his claws grazed my back, chopper lifting fast. Broadcasts out, the pilot shouted. DC's got it, quarantine's rolling. Atlanta shrank below, a sea of flame and shadow. For anchor, I panted. We made it. The chopper climbed, Atlanta's fires fading into night's grip. I'm steel, slumped against the hull, knife still in hand, Blaze beside me, tablet dark, Forge clutching the inhibitor vials. Silence hit hard, blades humming over the void left by ruin, anchor, shade. The hard drive's data was out, Delta sends aired, but the cost carved deep. Blaze replayed footage, Subject Zero's rampage, Carter's plea. Overlord, Spectre, they wanted this, he said, voice raw. Let it loose to watch it spread. Forge checked the vials, faint glow in his scarred hands. Inhibitor, brainstem killer. If it works, we hit them back. I pulled our team photo 8 years, half gone. Ruined steel eyes, anchors calm, shade smirk, ghosts now. Not for nothing, I said, tucking it away. They bought us this. Radio's live, the pilot cut in. Houston's reporting cases spreading fast. Delta's next site, Blaze said, eyes narrowing. Files say Seattle, DC 2. We're not done, Forge said, voice iron. Houston first, test these vials, burn their labs. Stars pierce the smoke. I saw Ruin's last stand. Anchors remember us, Shade's bulkhead fall. For them, I said, gripping my knife. We end this. Atlanta was a tomb, a warning in flames. Files out, vials in hand, a slim shot at redemption. Houston, I said, we move now. And that's it. Survivors, Steel, Blaze, and Forge are airborne. Files broadcast, vials ready, but Atlanta's gone, and the war's just begun. Did they buy us time, or is the world next? Smash that like button if you're hooked, subscribe, because part 3's coming hot. Tell me below. Would you fight with them or bunker down? What's your city facing in this nightmare? Could you hold out? I'm signing off from Atlanta's ashes, where heroes fell and hope hangs by a thread. Next stop, Houston. Will the inhibitor stop the infected, or are we all doomed? Drop your thoughts. I'm reading every comment. Imagine your steel. What's your next move with those vials? Tell me, survivors, stay sharp out there. We've got a saga to finish. See you in the next one.